We're in Way Media.
Right, Mr. Walters?
You see that guy over there? Now, he's an actor. The guy on the phone, he's a prize fighter. Me, I'm a cab driver. I'm the only cab driver in this place.
Good evening and welcome to Night Mr. Walters, a taxi podcast. I'm HP, your co-host, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Father Malone. Father Malone, how are you this evening?
Safety first is our only motto.
We're going to get into it. This is Taxi Season 3, Episode 16. Louie bumps into an old lady. This was written by David Lloyd. We all know who directed it. It's James Burrows, of course. Reminder, we're doing these shows in broadcast order, not in order of filming. This is another one of these shows, Father Malone, that was recorded at a different time that it was broadcast. So, again, it's very important that we establish these are all...
Was it made it earlier?
Yes.
In the season? Because you can kind of
yeah.
tell by Elaine's hair. It's still in that sort of like 60s mannequin molded plastic look.
It kind of is, but she doesn't feature much in this episode.
Does
Frankly,
anyone?
not. Yeah, let's get into this. So, Father Malone, your biggest complaint about the previous episode, which was Bobby's roommate, was that it was too sitcom-y. Isn't that right?
That's true, yes.
Well, buckle up because this episode told that one to hold its beer, Father Malone. Whoo, boy, is this one ever a sitcom cliche fest? Let's just get into it, okay? You could already hear in my tone. I'm already gearing up.
He's buried the lead by a tone.
This is not going to be pretty. We start in the garage, as we often do, as Louie is getting the returns from the cabbies' shifts. They're all lined up. They're giving their envelopes. There's a pretty blonde cabbie who complains to Louie. She's sort of naive. She's coming off like a new,
she's the new girl,
cabbie.
Man. Oh, yeah. The Louie needs to show with the ropes.
Apparently, because she says to him, she's just not getting it. And in true Louis fashion, he's lavishing her with praise and encouragement as he obviously has romantic designs on her. He tells her that she needs someone with experience to take her out in a cab to show her the ropes. And meanwhile, Elaine and Alex are laughing about Louis's harassment of this woman, because let's be honest, it is harassment. He is using his position of power to try to entice this woman on a date.
Always a hilarious trope for a sitcom.
Well, it kind of angers me because it's like Elaine has forgotten every slimy thing that Louis ever did to her. Now he has done a lot of bad things with Elaine. Remember he forced her to go out on a date to end the cabbie strike. It's he took
grabbed
advantage
her and rolled her around on the ground with her,
and yet she's yucking it up with Alex, like ha ha ha! Look at what's happening here.
Louie, yeah, she should be on the phone to HR right now, or like
seriously,
some sort of governmental organization.
I don't know. It's sort of bizarro. But Louis cajoles this cabbie. I think her name is, I don't know, Isabel. I don't know what. It doesn't matter.
Blonde girl who's never going to be seen again. Plot device, I think is her name.
Right. So he cajoles this naive cabbie to take her out in a cab so he can drive her around. He gets the keys to the cab and they go out. Tony protests a little bit.
Louis, you ain't no driver.
Yeah, you didn't take me out, Louis. It's like, what do you expect?
What the fuck are you talking about? What did everyone forget? The past 3 seasons of this show? We all know Louis a cabbie.
Exactly. Louis was the cab. Remember, we saw him. He was the cabbie.
Remember, there was a giant bet between him and Alex Rieger where they went out driving last year. Oh, I guess Tony doesn't. Is this just proof Tony is a fucking moron, or is it just lazy writing?
I think he's a little punchy from all. Remember, he got his license taken away. So clearly,
let's go with that.
Let's
Tony,
go with
Tony's all punch drunk all day long.
Which punch drunk is just a nice way of saying that he has CTE. We don't want to say that because it's a little grim, but I think that's what Tony's going through here, unfortunately. Bobby says they should do something, but Elaine making light of this whole situation, says she already told that cabbie what to do. She said, "You wrap Louis on the nose with a rolled up newspaper if he gets fresh." Ha 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 ha. They all think this is so funny.
It's a joke machine, this episode. Everyone's just one-linering to one another.
It's very we make the joke that it's vaudeville a lot of the time, but this is truly vaudevillian because it's like joke rifling every few minutes. So the cabbies commiserate a little bit more, culminating in a rather bizarre, but it has to be said, funny, because let's be honest, most of what Jim does can enliven any scene, or Christopher Lloyd, I guess I should say.
Not this
Jim Long.
though.
Well, I thought this was still pretty funny. I mean, it was a good visual joke. Jim is complaining. I don't recall
I think
exactly why.
this visual gag is in line with all of the dialogue. Like
Kind of,
as far as how funny it is. It's a guy sticking a fucking pencil in his ear. Like,
but I
hey,
appreciated
kids from the 50s, remember we used to do this in class? Like that's what this is to me.
it was a funny little, visual. He's complaining that when you put the pencil in your ear and you go, when you take a sharp turn, it falls out. So what do you do? And he pops the pencil right in his ear, and he actually shakes his head pretty fast, and the thing doesn't come out. I got to hand it to him. It's a good trick.
Do you hear that, listeners? The sound of HP grasping at straws.
That's exactly right. Thank you.
Oh, by the way, I'd like to point out that at this point in the series, 3 years in, I'm pretty sure that Alex Rieger is the primary investor in a puffy vest company because this is the latest in a line of puffy vests on Rieger. It's the shiny black one with a blue collar and red buttons. And I'm not talking about the vaudevillian.
The red buttons really caught my attention too because they are super red. They pop on this thing. But yeah, he's got the puffy vest thing down cold, and this is years before Marty McFly would popularize it in Back to the Future. Remember, doesn't he go into the diner and the guy says, "What are you in the Navy? What do you get the life preserver on?"
Would you jump ship?
That's that's what he says. So yeah, Alec. That's kind of like Alex's like rough and tumble look, right? He's got the slouch sweaters that make him look like a psychiatrist, and then he has the puffy vest, which makes him look like he's ready for an outdoor adventure. Kind
And
of
the puffy vest might contain a weapon because that's his cab outfit.
like a gun in case he gets robbed again.
Maybe
Or
so. Maybe that's the secret is that he buys from a company that also makes shoulder holsters, and they go never mind.
ooh, things got grim. This episode is not going well. So at this point,
Not for anybody.
no, not for at least of all for us, the viewers. Meanwhile, the blonde cabbie rushes in after all this commiseration. She's apoplectic about something that happened. Something awful happened.
Yeah, she's
And
terrible.
she's very bad. And then Louis charges in behind her. He's carrying
This
an
is
old
amazing.
woman.
This is the best part of the entire episode. Watching Danny DeVito just heft this woman and come running in with her like a fucking fireman. It's amazing.
It does make you think that he's a lot more powerful than he looks, doesn't he?
You figure it's all muscle under there, you know?
It is. I mean, he's not straining in the least. He takes this woman in, he sets her down gingerly at the poker table.
It's the thing you think about, people don't think about fat people is that their legs are incredibly strong.
Sure, it's because
They're
you know,
carrying their own weight all the time. So there's muscle under there, you know?
yeah, and I mean, Louis is nothing if not husky, but clearly there's some real heft behind those sinewy arms.
I
He
think
can carry this
I
woman.
think we were robbed of an actual fist fight between the Penguin and Batman.
Yeah, well, I don't know that
He's
the
wiry,
penguin.
like he's he's a little too rotund as the Penguin. If it would have been Batman versus Louis De Palma, there'd be a fighting chance. But with all that extra padding, I don't think he would ever have a chance against the Dark Knight.
Well, it's sort of implied that the penguin is sort of blubbery under all that, skin and everything. He's got flippers for hands too. Let's not forget. You can't form those into fists very easily.
That's
But
true. But he would have to just do a lot of karate.
but doesn't he? Doesn't the penguin like bite someone's nose off or something in the movie?
Yeah,
Who? It's one of the guys.
It's a campaign manager.
That's what it is. Yeah, yeah. I still wouldn't mess with the penguin. Don't get me wrong, because I think
Oh
he'd
no,
fight dirty.
he'd fuck you up, but not
He would.
Batman. This Batman would just knock him the fuck out. I mean,
But in terms of just straight up fisticuffs, a gentleman's bout, I think Louis would give you a run for your money. And by extension, Danny DeVito. He's a lot stronger than I think he looks. So Louis he's barking orders to Jeff to call an ambulance. There's all this commotion. eventually comes out that Louis apparently hit this old lady with his cab while he was ferrying this naive cabbie around trying to show her the ropes. So here we have this is the central issue. Okay, he's hit this woman in the cab. I think we already know where this is going,
Oh
right,
my
Father
God. We
Malone?
knew as soon as he was drove, as soon as she came running in, it was like, oh, okay, this is a fucking Louis going to get sued for, we're going to end up in court. This is Mike Brady defending Mrs. Brady. Throw down the briefcase and confuse Uncle Fester.
That was the vibe I got. And who was the guy? Was it? It wasn't Aston. Who was the guy who played Uncle Fester? Who was in that episode
Jackie
of the Brady
Coogan.
Bunch? Jackie Coogan. It was Coogan, the kid who was in Adventures in Babysitting. It was his father or grandfather.
Keith Coogan. It's his is it his grandfather? I think it might be his uncle or something, right? No, it must be
Maybe
his
it's
maybe it's his grandfather. You might be right about that.
it's a relation, but I like you, I got those vibes. We've all seen a sitcom where there is some kind of a grift going on with someone getting sued. They pretend they have whiplash or hurt an injury, and in this case, it was Mike Brady saves the day by throwing his briefcase and making Jackie Coogan turn his neck when he claimed he
Have
had whiplash.
whiplash. Oh, I've got the neck brace. Oh, you fooled me, Mike Brady. It's like the exact same episode, basically.
It really is. They get some credit for a twist they give to it, and we'll get into it. But for the most part, it's just paint by numbers sitcom.
And I'm going to take that one right back. I'm going to take that credit right away from them as soon as it happens because it's goddamn bullshit.
It's bad. So we fade back in to the garage. It's a day or two later. The cabbies are all expositioning how Louis is taking care of this old woman now constantly. He's sending her flowers every day, all this stuff. He's clearly trying to avoid a lawsuit. And just at that point, Louis comes in. He's pushing this old woman in a wheelchair, and he parades her around the garage,
He's
introducing her to
doing that
everybody.
the most cloying voice in the world, the voice I hate from Louis De Palma, the I'm trying to be sweet voice.
Right. There's like a barely contained seething behind it at times, but he's trying his best to convey this impression that he's a caring, doting, good person when all the cabbies know that this is all bullshit. So he's parading her around. It turns out we find out that Louis has bought the wheelchair for her. He's doing everything in his power to make this woman not want to sue him. And at this point, Alex mysteriously mentions that he's seen this woman before. He can't quite place her.
Right.
We,
And then and that also sort of should have clicked in everyone's mind who watched this fucking episode. Oh, here's where we're going with it. Here's the
yeah,
end of the episode. Here's how we'll get out of this lawsuit.
David Lloyd has written. This isn't a first time writer for Taxi. David Lloyd has written any number of episodes, some of the ones that we enjoyed. But so it's stunning that this level of it's almost like no care went into the writing of this because none of the characters really embody any of the qualities we've come to know and love. Louis gets a few funny little moments in and of themselves, but the plot is so, like I said, paint by numbers and
It
really
feels like
wrote.
it feels like a rejected script from season 1.
And it very well could have been. I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
Was this his writing sample to get the job, And they're like, "Oh, fuck it, just do that one. It got you the job. It must be good enough to put up."
I wouldn't be surprised because before I watch the episode, typically I'll read the entry for that episode in the Lovey's official taxi fan guide. And sometimes there'll be some interesting information. Sometimes there'll be some background along the episode. There was nothing with this. Literally, the only thing that was spoken aside from the synopsis was this is a terrible sitcom-y plot. And that's it. That's the biggest criticism and the worst criticism they could give it, which is this is so conventional it hurts. But I digress. So eventually, Edith, this old woman, mentions to Louis that she's being forced by her lawyers into suing Louis for $1 million. And she rolls herself out as we fade to commercial.
Wah, wah. Oh my God, gasped the audience of no one ever.
We're literally about halfway into this episode, and I just feel like we're racing through this. There's just nothing happening. So we fade back into the
You want to
garage.
jump to the end? I'm good with it.
Well, let's. It would be a disservice not to at least cover it to some degree for our
At least,
listeners.
yeah, cover the terrible set or the terribly lit set that they have for a courtroom, or
Oh, we'll
yeah.
get there. We'll get there.
Oh, right. I forgot. There's a whole second act we got to fucking slog through here.
Yeah, yeah. So when we fade back in, we're in the garage, and all the cabbies are looking up towards Mr. Mackenzie's office, the boss's office, up those stairs. Louis went up there to break the news to Mr. Mackenzie about the accident. He's going to try and get the garage to pay the legal expenses. And Louis comes out, says the cab company is going to pay for everything.
They have to actually. I mean, he's a representative of the company out there in the cab, so
Yeah,
she can't sue him anyway.
it's that there's insurance, and I'm sure the garage has insurance just for this purpose. But the problem is they're going to pay for it, but then he's going to owe the money back to the garage. They're essentially going to garnish his wages until he pays off this $1 million, which Louis figures it's if they take $100 out of his check every week, it's going to take him upwards of 200 years to pay back the company. So it's not looking good for Louis. It's actually looking pretty dire.
Okay. This is so fucking stupid. Like, he would go up and say, first of all, there's no breaking it to anybody. There's a lawyer for the goddamn company somewhere. They've immediately been informed. They're going to look at this fucking case and go, $1 million? Is she fucking maimed? Okay, no problem. We'll take this to court and we'll take care of it. You don't have anything to worry about, Louis. No $1 million is going to exchange hands here.
Yeah, if her game is literally to settle out of court in order to avoid going to
No, here's
court,
the thing. Even not knowing that, their lawyers, without thinking she's a scam artist, would just go $1 million. She might get 1,000 or two. Okay, let's go to court.
sure. I mean, there's never a possibility that he's going to have to pay 100%. Like $1 million for a broken leg and some pain and suffering is outrageous. But again, this is the episode we're dealing with. Nothing makes sense. Alex is continuing to fret about this, how he knows this old woman. It's on the tip of his tongue. It's one of these things where he's like, I know that woman from somewhere. So he keeps prattling on about it. And now the cabbies actually, it's kind of funny. They're kind of gloating about how screwed Louis is in the face of him.
Bobby definitely is. That's the only other good part of the episode. Because Bobby in the background, even, you just see him grinning ear to ear. And that's pretty great.
Yeah. And he has little one-liners. Like he'll just throw in like, just some comment about him going to jail, which I thought was kind of again, a little bit of a twist on the tired tropes on display here. So Louis is reduced to searching the yellow pages for an attorney, which actually I thought was kind of funny. When's the last time you had a phone book, Father Malone, that you had to consult for some service or someone's number? I mean, decades, right? Probably 30 years.
Oh, I don't know. It's been 30 years. I think I've looked through a phone book since I've moved to Las Vegas. I mean, not everyone didn't have a fucking smartphone forever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I got mine until like 2010 or 11 or something like that. So I'd say about 15 years, maybe. But
15 or 20 years.
Even after that, I travel on the road a lot. So, or I used to travel on the road a lot. So even during the past decade, I would be in motels or, out in the middle of nowhere, like you end up looking at yellow pages. So,
but even 20 years ago, we're talking about
residentially
2005.
speaking, no, why would you even need it? You have a PC at home, never mind your phone. But but yeah, like they still exist in the real world.
It was sort of quaint to see him pull out the phone book and go through the yellow pages, which is that part at the end where people put all their weird ads. So finally, Alex figures out how it dawns on him how he knows this old woman, and he busts out laughing. Turns out that
fake laughter. I hated it.
You don't. I didn't mind it. I thought it was fine.
I have a secret. It was like nothing is working in this episode. Even fucking Judd Hirsch is misfiring.
It's not good. So a former cabbie, someone by the name of Sonny Bergmeyer, which again we've talked about, this must be someone's relative or maybe somebody who works on like the custodial staff There's someone named Sonny Bergmeyer that they named this character after. This former cabbie ran over the same lady years ago, and she sued him. But Sonny discovered that she's been running this scam over and over the years, and he basically beat her to her own game. He brought people in who'd also been scammed, and she backed out of her lawsuit. And Louis decides at this point to let her take him to court, and he's going to use this Sonny Bergmeyer to expose her during the trial. This is his big plan to expose her in court. Louis begs Alex to find Sonny Bergmeyer, and Alex initially refuses. There's this, like I said, there's this strange thing where the cabbies are actually elated that Louis faces financial ruin at the hands of this shady con artist. So initially, Alex doesn't says he's not going to help him find Sonny, but then he eventually agrees, but only on three conditions. If Louis stops denigrating cabbies, if he stops making passes at Elaine, actually it's four. If he stops putting down Bobby, or making fun of Alex's nose. Now, here's the thing about this, right? So let's recap once again. Four things. He has to stop making fun of cabbies, making passes at Elaine, making fun of Bobby, or making fun of Alex's nose.
So that's
the thing
two.
that's, huh?
That's two, actually. Stop making fun of cabbies. Stop making passes at Elaine. That covers the other two as well.
That's true, but the thing that I think is funny is that he's called out specifically Elaine and Bobby and himself for being ridiculed, but he never mentions Tony. It's like fuck Tony. Like you
yeah,
can
that is
continue
funny.
to.
I had no
You,
by omission. He's just like Tony, fair game, but you really need to lay off the rest of us. Tony's not even going to remember when you think about it.
I don't know. I just that I'm looking for any little morsel that I can kind of glom onto
There aren't many.
and enjoy. And
Good
that
for
I
you
thought
for
was kind of
finding
funny.
this one. It's like a fucking gold coin in Mario Brothers or something. Oh, I didn't realize this was a breakable panel.
That's right. So we cut to the courthouse. This terribly lit set. I mean, the set itself is fine. It's whatever, but it looks
straight. It's straight from the prop shop. It just
It
seems,
is.
yeah, just constructed like, you would see the same one over on One Day at a Time if they had an episode that took place in a fucking court.
right. There's nothing that sets it apart in the way that like the gym sets looked really good when Tony is working out at the boxing gym. That was a cool set. The spelling bee, which might be one of the best sets they ever had, where it actually looks like a public school gymnasium. This is very generic. It's just like let's get the prop house to make us generic courthouse, and that's what we've got here. Bobby tells Tony and Jim that Rieger found Sonny Bergmeyer. And then Tony and Bobby leave to go scam on chicks at the courthouse while Jim goes up to use the judge's gavel. He's alone in the courthouse and he uses the judge's gavel to crack a walnut. Jim goes up and this is sort of like wordless scene. And
Hilarious.
then and just as he's there, Edith, the old woman, is wheeled in. So Jim hides behind the judge's podium, lectern, whatever you want to call it.
Come and knock on our door.
This is very Three's Company.
We've been waiting for you. Where the kisses are hers and his. Come on, HB. Three's Company too. Wouldn't you rather do anything than talk about this episode? You'll find. I don't know. I don't know the rest of it.
But see, in talking
The
about it,
Beagle.
we're gonna get to the end of the episode. So I'm trying to
Jack Tripper. What a cool guy.
just as a side note, I watched a lot of Three's Company, as I'm sure we all did.
Oh yes.
And but as a child, I would say probably 75% of the humor was just right over my head. None of the sort of Mr. Furley believing that Jack was. Remember that he had to pretend that he was
gay. Yeah. Mr. Furley
Right.
used to do this. Well, the Ropers were really the ones that, he used to do the little Tinkerbell motion at Jack Tripper, like, oh, he's one of these. So he used to do that move.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I can remember that now. And honestly, the Ropers had more personality than not no disrespect to Don Knotts because, he could rock that kerchief like nobody's business.
Don Knotts had plenty of Wessonality.
But nobody did the reaction to camera 2 the way that Norman Fell did when he was laughing at putting down Mrs. Roper's moo or whatever the case might
That's true.
be.
He was a fourth wall breaker, that Mr.
He
Roper.
was.
He knew he was in a sitcom.
Norman Fell, R.I.P. This Mrs. Roper Moo thing became like a thing. Like people have races, 5Ks, where you're
Yeah.
expected to dress up like Mrs. Roper.
That all started in Palm Springs. They've been doing it there for decades.
Did it
And
really? Okay.
yeah, and it finally hit social media. So now that people are doing it everywhere. And I couldn't be happier. I think it's what a sight when you see it happen. It's pretty incredible.
I've never seen it, but I've seen ads for, hey, the 5K is this weekend. Dress up in your favorite moo and it's or
I
house
don't know what
dress.
this fucking 5K business. I've just seen meetups where they're all drunk. It's that, like let's go to a party, let's go to a fucking concert. Like there's just like a flash mob of them. It's fantastic.
Flash mob of Mrs. Ropers.
Suddenly you're in a sea of Mrs. Ropers. It's the greatest.
What was the actress's name? She was Helen on the show, but what was her name? It's
You said
escaping
it,
me
and
right
then
now.
it just jumped out of my brain.
It was Norman Fell, and
Norman
I can
Fell
see her.
and looking at her right now in my
Uh,
brain.
Polly
What
Holiday. No, that was
Holly
Flo.
Holiday? Come on, man.
Kiss my grits.
Listen to these old men not Google anything.
This old man brain strikes again.
Hey, by the way, let's talk about Taxi.
Yeah, let's get back to it. Edith's lawyer comes in and they shake hands and they commiserate. And by their conversation, it's clear that he's in on this racket that she's got going too. And Edith confides in the lawyer that at this time her injury is actually real. She actually broke her leg getting hit by the cab.
Who
So
cares? She
now,
still jumped in front of the fucking cab. This
yeah,
is
yeah.
fucking ridiculous. They don't. Here's the thing, HP. So we're waiting for the guy to show up. Oh, he's the star witness. He's going to put her in her place. They don't need that. Louis has a lawyer. He just says, could you look up on the docket how many times she's filed this type of case? And then he says, have you not filed this case this many times? But I actually broke my leg this time. Yeah, but you still jumped in front of the cab just like you've done 23 times. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, he doesn't need Sonny Bergmeyer to prove his case because there must be a record of how many suits this woman has filed in court.
Plus,
So
he could have anyone walk in there and go, my name is Sonny Bergmeyer. Once upon a time, she tried to she tried to blackmail me, and I said no, and then she backed up. Is that true, ma'am? No, I've never seen him before. Even if it is Sonny Bergmeyer, is this true, ma'am? No, I've never seen him before. Well, what do you want us to do? Like, we're supposed to take your word for it that this happened?
look, we've seen A Few Good Men. We know that Tom Cruise brought in those airmen at the end with no intention of putting them on the stand. They were only there to give Jack Nicholson the impression that they were going to testify against him. It worked for Tom Cruise. I don't see what the problem is here. Jim is hearing all of this in his vantage point as he's hiding from from view. At that point, Louis, his attorney, and a few other observers file into the courtroom. The defense attorney is agitated with Louis that this star witness, this Sonny character, hasn't shown up yet. At this point, Jim comes out from his hiding spot.
Hey, by the way, let's fucking ladle on another fucking heaping helping of sitcom bullshit here. I need to tell you something. Get out of here. No, I really need to tell you. Get out of here. But I need to tell you. Get out of here. Okay, bye. Like, how about instead of, but I really need to tell you, go, boss, her leg is actually broken. Anyone would actually do that. I fucking hate this shit in any sitcom. Never mind this one.
Yes. So Jim says, I got to tell you something, boss. It's real important. And Louis is too busy making fun of him, yelling at him to get out of his way. By the time he's ready to tell him what he heard and saw, he's forgotten about it. So that ship has sailed. He can't tell the boss that this woman's leg is really broken. So he goes away.
I can't even call this vaudeville any of this episode because vaudeville is actually funny.
It's a struggle. So we fade out and we fade back in, and now it's during the trial in progress. Edith is being cross-examined by the defense attorney. And while this is happening, Rieger rushes in to tell Louis that Sonny Bergmeyer has refused to help once he found out that it was Louis that he was helping. So he basically jumped out of the cab and left before he could really get into it with Alex. So in
And no
desperate,
tip.
so in desperation, Louis hatches a plan. He asks permission from the judge to question Edith himself over his attorney's objection. What I do like about this is the judge says, well, it's okay with me if it's okay with the prosecutor. And the prosecutor says, not only is it okay with us, we welcome it, because they know, like any good attorney, they know that it's never a good idea for a client to cross-examine or try to insert themselves into the judicial process, because it's going to end badly for them. And that's what we see here. So Louis starts to question Edith, and he's focusing on her alleged broken leg. And this is all climaxing. This is all leading up to the point where he declares proof that she's not injured. He takes her wheelchair and shoves her out the courtroom doors. And then it's punctuated by a series of cartoonish banging sounds. This is like, when you don't when someone falls down the stairs but you don't see it, and then you hear like go 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 go, ow, go 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 go. That's what we hear here. And at some point, Louis says to Rieger, like, well, what floor are we on? And Rieger, in true vaudeville fashion, says the 16th floor. And then Louis looks back at the judge and says, I rest my case, Your Honor. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Terrible.
No.
So we fade back into the garage at this point, where Alex is there with the rest of the cabbies, and he tells them that Edith's actually okay. The chair and her cast actually somehow absorbed most of the damage, and she's actually going to be okay.
Cares.
So the judge apparently has thrown Louis in jail because of his stunt. But fortunately, Alex did get a list of the other scammed cabbies from Sonny before he split. So he's now going to try to call them to spring Louis from jail. But then he goes, and yet it's this whole idea of they're more than happy to let Louis stew in prison for a little while longer before they spring him. So he pauses, kind of looks thoughtful. That's it. Credits roll. Episode finally fucking over, Father Malone.
Let's get to the fucking yellow lights already.
So here we go.
I need to no longer be in this episode.
So we're going to talk about those yellow lights.
What does a yellow light mean?
Reminder, we score on a scale of 1 to 5 yellow lights. 1 is the worst. Actually, technically 0 is the worst.
We've given a 0 before.
Yes. And then I should really
Guess what's about to
doing that.
happen, everybody?
Well, just for argument's sake, 5 is the best taxi episode. Father Malone, what do you give Louis bumps into an old woman or old lady?
I mean, it's the worst one we've seen. And that makes me want to give it a 0 because we've set that precedent before. But I guess I laughed twice, so 1 yellow light. And for reasoning, see everything I've previously said in this episode.
I can't even be that charitable. I have this episode was almost insulting with how unfunny and unoriginal it was.
Can we give it a negative light? Can we give it
we can't give it a negative. I don't want to go that route.
I want to give it 1 like black fluorescent bulb, that kind you have at Halloween.
I'm just giving it straight up 0 yellow lights. I don't want to go through the exercise of fractional or what have you. This is just such a stinker. For all the reasons we've already given. Terrible, unreal sitcom plot, scant laughs, ugh. 0 yellow lights from me. I guess 1 yellow light from Father Malone?
You know what? You know what? If we're going 0, if you're going 0, I'll join you, because this was beyond the pale.
This is, we don't often say this, but this one is really avoid at all costs. Like, there's just no reason. You've probably gotten more laughs just from hearing Father Malone and I talk about this episode than if you actually watched it. So that's going to do it for this episode of Night, Mr. Walters. Father Malone, where can folks find you when you're not clocked into the garage?
Find me on my show, Midnight Viewing, twice a week show. Mondays is Father Malone's Weekly Roundup, where we look at all the brand new streaming and theatrical releases. And every Friday, it is a rotating show where we're either looking at a horror anthology TV series a la Tales from the Dark Side, or we've got some sort of theme going on, a fest, if you will, like HP and I are wrapping up our Yaucha Fest that are look at the movies of the Predator movies. And over on our Patreon show, we're doing Moranis Fest. We're looking at the movies of Rick Moranis. And oh my God, we've got a new fest planning. I'm not going to mention it yet because I don't think we've actually finalized it, but a new one's coming soon.
And do not sleep on Father Malone's weekly roundup with Ripley Jean. It's a great way to start off your week, find out what's new on streaming and in the theaters. I love it. As for myself, I host the Noise Junkies Music Podcast. As Father Malone said, we're in the middle of Yaucha Fest, and we've got a lot of other fests over on his Midnight Viewing podcast. I also have a Bandcamp site, hpmusicplace.bandcamp.com. So that's going to do it. Thanks so much for listening. Please feel free to subscribe to this podcast, write a review, or rate us. We'd love to hear from you in any way you see fit. In fact, I have an email address, hpmusicplace@gmail.com. Please feel free to drop a line. So once again, for myself and Father Malone, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Night, Mr. Walters.